Have you ever felt a flicker of doubt about your faith? A question that you're almost afraid to ask, even in the privacy of your own heart? Maybe it's a deep why when you see suffering in the world, or a moment when a Bible story just doesn't seem to make sense. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to know something right now. You are not alone, and you are not a bad Christian. In fact, some of the greatest heroes of our faith, people like the Apostle Thomas, the great C.S. Lewis, and even Mother Teresa, wrestled with profound doubt. So if you're struggling, you're in good company. Today we're going to talk about how to combat doubt, not by pretending it doesn't exist, but by facing it with honesty and courage. The first step in combating doubt is to understand what kind of doubt you're dealing with. Generally, there are three types. First, there's intellectual doubt. This is the doubt that comes from your head. It's the how and why questions. How can we know the Bible is reliable? What about science and creation? Why would a good God allow evil and suffering? These are real important questions, and they deserve real answers. Second, we have emotional doubt. This doubt comes from your heart. It's often rooted in personal experience. Maybe you prayed for something and it didn't happen. Maybe you've been hurt by people in the church. This kind of doubt feels heavy, and it's often tied to feelings of disappointment or abandonment. And third, there's spiritual doubt. This is a deeper, more existential kind of doubt. It's when you feel a distance from God, a spiritual darkness, as Mother Teresa described her own experience. This can be the most challenging because it's not about what you think or feel, but a profound sense of disconnection. So how do we combat these different types of doubt? Let's break it down. When it comes to intellectual doubt, don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. God is not intimidated by your curiosity. The field of Christian apologetics exists for this very reason. There are incredible resources out there that tackle the big questions of our faith. For example, when we wrestle with the problem of evil, philosophers and theologians point to concepts like free will and the idea of a greater good, that God can bring good out of even the darkest situations. When it comes to the Bible's reliability, there's a mountain of evidence, from manuscript consistency to archaeological discoveries that affirm its historical accuracy. Don't just sit with your questions. Seek out the answers. Read books, watch debates, and explore the rich intellectual tradition of our faith. Emotional doubt needs a different approach. You can't just think your way out of a feeling of abandonment. This is where community becomes so important. We need to be honest with other believers about our struggles. Find a trusted friend, a pastor, or a mentor who you can be real with. Someone who will listen without judgment and remind you that God is with you, even when it doesn't feel like it. Prayer is also crucial here. But instead of just asking God for things, try praying honestly about your feelings. You can say, God, I'm angry, or I feel so let down. The Psalms are filled with these kinds of raw, honest prayers. God can handle your emotions. And remember the story of the Apostle Peter, who, despite his emotional denial of Jesus, was met with grace and restoration. Your feelings don't disqualify you from God's love. Spiritual doubt can be the toughest because it often feels like you're doing all the right things, but God is still silent. This is where we learn to walk by faith, not by sight or even by feeling. C.S. Lewis, a former atheist, had his own struggles with faith, and he found that persevering in his spiritual disciplines, even when he didn't feel like it, was key. When you feel that distance, lean into the habits of faith. Keep reading your Bible, even if the words feel empty. Keep praying, even if it feels like you're talking to a wall, and keep going to church, even if you feel like an outsider. These acts of faith are like an anchor in a storm. They keep you grounded until the clouds of doubt begin to part. As Mother Teresa's letters revealed, she experienced this spiritual darkness for decades, yet she continued to serve God faithfully. Her perseverance is a powerful testament that our faith can be stronger than our feelings. So, if you're wrestling with doubt today, I want to leave you with this encouragement. Be kind to yourself. Your faith journey is a marathon, not a sprint. It's okay to have questions, to have moments of weakness, and to feel distant. God's grace is big enough for all of it. Here's a simple call to action for you this week. First, identify what kind of doubt you're experiencing. Is it intellectual, emotional, or spiritual? Second, take one small step to address it. Maybe that's buying a book on apologetics, calling a friend to talk, or simply praying, "God, help my unbelief." Remember, doubt doesn't have to be the end of your faith. It can be the beginning of a stronger, more resilient faith. A faith that has been tested and has come out the other side, not with all the answers, but with a deeper trust in the one who holds them. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content to encourage you on your faith journey. And in the comments below, I'd love to hear about a time you wrestled with doubt and how you grew from it. You never know who your story might encourage. Grace and peace.